All right, so a friend that plays guitar and sings in a band said he wants some piano lessons, keyboard lessons. And I said, no, you already play music, you know music, you don't need a piano lesson because let's be real. If I'm being like a little sarcastic, but really 90% honest and true, like how do you play the piano? You push the button. All right, well, let's learn about technique. Well, here's the basic idea. Keep your hands above the wrists, above the keys, because we don't want to play like here. And then also sit further back than you think, because you want your arms to be out in front of you. You want to picture a monkey playing a piano, and they can reach down here, they can reach up here, and then picture a Tyrannosaurus Rex playing a piano. Like they can't reach anywhere because their arms are too short. Give yourself long arms, and keep your wrists at the very worst level with the keys, but you want to be able to use your fingers down instead of this or whatever. And that's pretty much it though. Beyond that, it's just practicing the notes that you need to hit, practicing the chords that you need to hit. Here's the thing that makes piano frustrating. I'm going to take everything you know on guitar and destroy why half of it's not going to work on piano, and you got to relearn music in a way, kind of, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. With stringed instruments, the nifty thing about them that makes them easier is you are shortening and lengthening the instrument as you play. So conceptually, it's a little easier to kind of wrap your head around. I feel like piano, obviously, it's easy to wrap your head around the idea. Oh yeah, these are higher notes, these are lower notes. Great, but when it comes down to it, to play a guitar or any stringed instrument, one hand chooses the sound, and whatever chord it is that you're doing or that you're playing, the other hand creates the sound. But one hand chooses, the other creates. They need to work together to get the instrument to work. One at a time doesn't do anything good. They need to work together. Piano doesn't have that issue. And also, any woodwind instrument or whatever, your hands choose the note, your breath creates the note, but you still only get one at a time, and both hands are working together in the process to play one note. Unless you're playing two saxophones high up or something like that, like two recorders or whatever. I know there's workarounds, but come on. Piano though, each finger can choose a note and create. So now, because each hand can choose a note and create a note, when it comes to rhythms, because on guitar, if you want to get you can mess around with it, and I'm sure there's a lot of plucking styles and patterns and songs where you do things like this without noticing it or thinking about it or whatever. But let's pretend I'm playing quarter notes on a G string, but I can still play eighth notes on my E string. That's something that this instrument can do, and it can do it with up to 6 things. And banjo could do 4 or 5, most likely. And those other strings, how many? Ukulele could do 4, bass could do 4. Piano can obviously do a lot. So, let's learn. So, destroying what you know. With a guitar, you learn a shape, a chord shape, or a scale shape that you like, and you can use it anywhere, like a D major. Or if you play it like this, or whatever, if you're a lunatic. But let's stick with this one. If someone says, well, we're not going to play it in D major, we're going to play it in E major, okay. F major, G, or F sharp. You use the same fingerings, the same pattern, the same muscles. It feels the same. Obviously, when you cross strings, if you get into the G, B string, people who play guitar know what I'm talking about. then your patterns change a little bit, but it's that one little shift. But now with piano, that little shift right there, you kind of got to deal with that for every single key. I'm going to switch the camera over so you're looking down on the keys, and we're going to talk about how to find the chords that you want to play on the piano and why it's a pain in the butt to learn the instrument compared to some other instruments. All right, so this fellow's looking to do learning how to make chords on the chords that he's looking for and stuff like that on the keys. Here's the thing, because like you got to use different shapes for everything, I'm gonna show you how to find any scale and, roughly speaking, major and minor, and any major or minor chord that you would need. It's easy to learn and figure out. I mean, I teach like 9-year-olds how to play, you know, they'll learn all 24 major and minor chords and scales in 10 minutes. Can they just play it all off the cuff right there? No, they got to sit and figure it out. But the bottom line is they at least know how to do it if they ever need to. Here's it in a nutshell. How to find any key. So let's start with C major because it's easiest. No sharps or flats. So grab my guitar here. I think we can see it a little bit maybe, but actually I can hammer on. We got C, you can see, you know, on your guitar. Right? But now if we go to G, let's say we do a G major scale. Now if I do the same thing on the piano like I would on the guitar, that F is the pesky bugger because it's F sharp. Why is it F sharp? Music is all about ratio. It's all about, you know, frequency and vibrations, and, you know, basically when you get a major chord, whatever chord it is, and you shorten up the strings, everything is shortening in ratio with each other. That's the vibration of everything is rising, and the pitch sounds higher. But now, because we can't shorten and lengthen the piano while we're holding a shape, we got to keep changing our shape. So if we look at a C major scale, we get a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole, half, whole, half. That is the recipe for a major scale, major key, major scale, anywhere on any instrument, anywhere on the planet, in any culture. Like, that's it. You want to play a D major scale? All right, let's start on D. In case you forget what that pattern was, always reference C. So I'm going to play a D major scale, but I'm going to learn it by thinking about it in C. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. D major has F sharp and C sharp. And we could do that for anything. If you remember that pattern, whole, half, whole, half, you could figure out anything. Let's do a B flat major scale, whatever. Whole, half, whole, half. B flat and E flat. If you call it A sharp and D sharp, like, technically you're wrong, but that's okay. It's the same idea. We get it. The reason they call them flats is because you can't have A sharp, C, D, D sharp, F, G, A sharp. Like D and D sharp, A and A sharp. No, there are 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because there are 7 pitches. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Whether it's major or minor. So all the letters have to be represented. Like, yeah, G major is F sharp. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. F major is going to be F, G, A, whole, half. B flat. C, D, E, F. So Now, we've learned how to learn scales, find scales. We'll get to chords in a second, but now let's talk about why the piano's a pain in the butt, diving in a little bit more of the... So you've got... You learn your muscle memory for a scale. If I do a 2-octave C major scale, it works. You know, I get that muscle memory. But suddenly, if I go to a D major scale, like that doesn't work. I got to get my ring finger involved now. Cross my thumb under. Ring finger comes in. So now the pattern in my muscles and fingers to play a D major scale versus a C major has changed. And then as you go through all the keys, they're all a little different. So they all feel a little different. So it's a pain in the butt to get them down. And like, I didn't practice my scales growing up. It's just whatever scales happened to be in songs that I liked, that's the scale I practiced. Because I learned songs, not scales. Anyway, all the stuff we just talked about is how to find major scales on the piano. If you want to learn minor, do the exact same thing, but start with A. Use A as your reference note. Now there's also like the harmonic minor scale, the natural minor scale, the melodic minor scale. They got these subtle differences, and I don't remember what they all are right now off the top of my head. Minor is a little more fidgety. Like people take bands take more liberties with the minor scale, so like take a lot of this with a grain of salt, but it's at least going to give you a good foundation for it. If I want to learn D minor, let's learn the D minor scale. So A is my reference. Whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. B flat. Now I got a D minor scale. We can do the same thing, but we'll do one more. Let's do E flat minor. Whole, half, whole, oops, whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. Oops. So this one uses all 5 black keys in it. Oops. Okay, we've learned scales. Let's dive into how to find chords. So like what chords are chosen in songs? Here's another theory thing. If you're playing a song in C major, so we got C major. The chords you're probably going to find are C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, but we don't really deal with diminished chords too often in popular rock, funk, blues, music stuff. And then we're back to C major. All the chords are built by taking stuff from the scale. You get your root, your third, your fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's move up to the next note. Do, re, root, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm pretending the black keys don't exist right now because the key of C major does not have any black keys. If we do it in the key of G major, which we know has F sharp, we get G major, A minor, because music's relative, so do is happy, major chord. Re is a minor chord. Mi is a minor chord, but this sounded weird, right? Because there's no F in the key of G. We have F sharp. These are all the chords that would be found in G major, most likely. G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished. But again, we don't really deal with them too much. Back to G major. But now, you're going to learn a song. You don't want to go through all the scale BS. You're like, bro, just show me how to play this chord. Here you go. D, we're going to do an E major chord. Start on E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count up 3 now. 1, 2, 3. Bam, there's your E major chord. This is the recipe for a major chord on anything. Let's say you want to learn a C major. We already know C major is this, right? Well, count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count up 3. 1, 2, 3. If you want to take any major chord and turn it into minor, you take your note in the middle and drop it 1. Bam. Let's talk about that concept out of guitar. Pretend you're playing your open cowboard chord E major. You got your low E. Actually, I'm going to play it up an octave so you can see the stickers. You got your open E string, your 6th string. You got your A string, 2nd fret. D string, 2nd fret. G string, 1st fret. B string open. D string open. Oops, E string open. That's the chord that you play on a guitar when you play your cowboy E major. And the reason why it's minor when you drop that 1 fret. To make a chord on the piano, it doesn't have to be any particular thing. So with like E major, it's E, G sharp, and B. That's an E major chord. The guitar just embellishes it because as long as those are the only 3 notes in existence, it's E major. I could put my E's down here. They're probably off camera, but it's just an E. I'm gonna throw a G sharp here and a B up here. That's E major. I could hit every E, G sharp, and B on the keyboard and it would still be E major. It'd be muddy and disgusting. It's a little thick and trudgy, and technically that's an arpeggio, not a chord, because I didn't hit it all at the same time, but whatever. You can have duplicates of things, obviously. I can put E's here, let me put a B here, and I'll put a G sharp here and a G sharp here, and I'll tack on this B. Still E major, doesn't matter. And you can flip and change things around however you want, but 9 times out of 10, your left hand you're going to want to leave on the root note. If it's E major, play an E. If it's F sharp minor, play an F sharp. If it's C diminished third, blah, 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 play C. Unless I said C sharp in that example. But whatever the name of the chord is, just play that note in your left hand. You can mix and match your right hand kind of how you want, and it's gonna sound generally the same kind of ish. The moment you change your bass note to a different note, like let me put the G sharp in the bass. Now we got a whole different feel. This just changes the vibe of the chord completely. Even more if we go to a B. There's just this tension that's waiting to resolve. And that is the power of the bass. So, well, yeah, now we just figured out how to make any major or minor chord. We got to find a G sharp minor chord. All right, well, 2 ways to look at this. Start with your G sharp, go up 4, go up 3. So now I got my 3 notes. If I want to make it minor, you take your middle one, bring it down. Bam. There's G minor, or G sharp minor. You want to make it bigger, go for it. I need G sharp, B, D sharp. Okay, remember that. G sharp in the bass. And then B and D sharp. Wherever I want to put them. There is your G sharp minor chord. So the way that you can mix and match and flip and flop the notes everywhere is the same idea on guitar, how I could play a G major like this. Or like this. Or like this. Or like this. Or whatever. You know, you get the idea. It's the same idea as taking like your G major, GBD. Take the G, put it on top. Oops. take this G, kick it up to the next one, the next note, B. Well, let's take this B and kick it up to the next one. B's taken, we're gonna go to D. I'm just kind of like slinkying up the keyboard. And that's kind of what you're doing with a guitar when you start ripping through. Oops. Where am I going down here? I'm lost. You know, taking that example, yeah. So what do I got? G, this is a G major. So. Oops. Starting on the D. Come to the G. Yeah, so as you look to add chords to your songs, take what chord you're playing on your guitar, you know, C major, F minor, whatever, R, flat, major, third, seventh, suspended, fifth, whatever, fourth. I just said a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense to any of the music critics out there. I know that, I'm aware. Save your comments. But yeah, that's the idea. My advice, couple little tips. Whenever you're building your chord, either have your root as the highest note or your third. So if you need E major, root, third, fifth, make sure this or this is your highest note, and it's gonna stand out a little more, I feel like. So you can take the E and put it up here. But if we also make it so this is the highest note, whether it's up here or we bring these other things down, there's something that sounds nice about that too, in my opinion. But obviously you can mix and match and do things as you want. And let's put this into a practical application and say we're gonna play a simple little easy song that is, we'll do it in C major, so we just have white keys to make it nice and easy, but we'll say it's a typical like Don't Stop Believing chord progression, which, bear with me a second, but I think it's G major. Yeah, okay, it's 1, 5, 6, 4. So, we got C major. Then we go to G major. G, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We go to A minor. Okay, minor chord. Start on A. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, but let's make it minor. So another way to think about this is you could go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to make a minor chord, you swap your counting thing. And then we come down to F major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. This is easy because C, the key of C has no sharps or flats, so I don't have to worry about the black keys. C major, bam. G major, bam. A minor, bam. It's already automatically there. F major. But now instead of doing it like this, because that's kind of like on guitar, playing kind of like if I did a C major, G, A, F. And it's like it works, but I know like most guitarists, after they play for a while, they get bored of doing just sliding one bar chord around. That's where if you take time and analyze it, get a notebook, write down the chords as you figure them out so you don't have to go back and refigure them out. Start with your C major. Whatever arrangement you want. Let's put the C on top. Now we have G major, which is G, B, D. We already have a G. Keep it. Why not? We need B and D. Well, oh, look, right here, right next to it. A minor, A, C, E. Well, we can just move everything up one spot. Then we get F major, F, A, C. Well, we already got A and C. And now you'll probably notice this when you play guitar in certain chords as they resolve. It's just one finger that moves or something. It's the same idea here. But we could totally rip that into another thing. Let's say we start in this position. with E on top. C major. Now we need G, B, D. G is still here, keep it. A minor, well, we just slide up. F, A, C, again, just a C to F. There's another way. You want just to sound bigger, better, fuller, badder? Add your bass hand in there. C major, doesn't matter. Left hand doesn't care if it's major or minor. This is why your bassists don't care if it's major or minor. Like, if they're new, whatever. Just play the root note, buddy. C, G, B, D, A minor, F major. And that's how you figure out what you're trying to play on the piano without knowing how to read music or whatever. You can look up chord charts and at least get an idea of what you're doing. Crammed a lot of stuff in here, but hopefully it's decent or helps somebody somewhere. I'm sure it will. Feel free to ask questions, reach out. Good luck.